Turn off the night vision here because it's daytime. There we go. Hey people, it's DLF, and I told you the other yesterday on my video yesterday that I needed to do a tribute to Tony Lorenzo. Okay, now here's the backstory behind this. Tony Lorenzo is a guitarist from the band. What's the band called again? Ritual Quarantine was the name of the band he was in. And I think it was like, what, 2000, I don't know what year. It was a couple years ago. He got shot, okay? It was somebody mugged him. He got shot, the whole deal. He didn't die, but he's in a wheelchair now. He's like paralyzed or whatever. Because when he got shot, the bullet hit his spine or something. Anyway, big to do with that, and it resulted in a full reunion of the band Beyond Death, because his uncle Frank Lombardi was the guitarist of his band Beyond Death, which had Alex Webster and Jack Owen in it, and they're now in Cannibal Corpse. So it was kind of like a pre-Cannibal Corpse band, I guess you would call it. So they had a whole big to do with this. They had the whole reunion, original members, because after a certain time, the new lineup was Frank, Jason Corrier, which I actually learned how to play guitar from, and I can't even remember the other, Bill, I think his name was, on drums. Frank was vocals and guitar, and Jason was bass, and I believe the guy whose name was Bill on drums. They weren't bad as that lineup, but they weren't the original lineup, because it was Jack Owen, Alex Webster, Frank Lombardi, and then Darren Pfeiffer on drums, who is actually in a pretty well-known band now called Goldfinger. They're just like a ska band, I guess you'd call it now. So anyway, I went to these shows, and the whole big thing was we were gonna raise money for Tony Lorenzo so he could get his house fitted with so he can get around in a wheelchair in his house, I guess. So we had to raise money for that, and then I ended up winning the guitar, which was actually a precursor to the whole Clint Carr fiasco, I guess you'd say, because that was one of the things that Clint Carr tried to attack me over, because I won the guitar, but he's over there saying that I stole the guitar, and it was just a big mess from there, So I actually bought this shirt off of Frank Lombardi here. You can't even tell, because I've worn this like so many times. Like, look at this thing, it's like ripped. Like, it makes a better funeral shroud than anything. Like, look at the back here. It's like torn to pieces. I mean, this is kind of like a sweet metal shirt if you just wear it like this. But, I think it's seen better days. And well, let me just explain this. Down the here it says beyond. It says beyond and then death there, and that's supposed to be like a picture of a mummy or something. And then on the back it says, let me take this off. Yeah, you're gonna. It's like I'm getting tangled up in my shirt because it's all ripped to shreds. It says, old. You can see it says old school medal for Tony Lorenzo, January 7th, 2012, Buffalo, New York. The historic reunion of Beyond Death and Tyrant Sin, with special guests of Vol'jin, Demented Dream States, Abdicate, and I think that's a Cephalophile. Sponsored by Glorious Times and Club Infinity. So, so yeah, this shirt has so much of my DNA on it, and so much, it's been worn down. See, like I said, it's been worn down to shreds here. It's pretty much, it's been well worn, and it deserves the final to what do you call it? It deserves a well needed closure. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna give this thing the proper burial that it deserves. It's been with me for like what, 5 years or so. It needs to die an honor. It's an honorable death. So, I mean, just look at it. It's torn to pieces, and this is gonna break my heart too. It's like bleach stains all over it. Holds up the ass, like there's a hole there, there's a hole there, you know. This is gonna be very hard on me because I like this shirt, and if I could find another one, you know, I think they might have some like local band shirts at the not the Goodwill. Salvation Army on what is it, Grant and Ferry, I believe. That's where I had to do my community service from when Barf had me arrested. I had to do my community service there, 30 hours of community service, and I didn't even do the community service because they just said you don't have to do it. They just wrote me off there, and they just said, you know, just take this back to them next week. So I didn't even do community service there, even though I technically did. Okay, so and I looked around too. They had like one for like one of the what do you call it, the Evil Easter Eve shows that they used to do at the Tonawanda Moose Lodge. They had one of those shirts. It was probably the one that I left at the funeral home. I left it there because I forgot it there, I should say. Because I won that guitar, and it was that day, and Jeff Wacker came in with a shirt that I bought, and then he gave it to me, and then I left it at the funeral home or something, and it got tossed. I don't know, but you know, I was so like excited about winning that guitar. I was like, whoa, like what the fuck just happened? And I ended up leaving my Evil Easter Eve shirt at the fun home. So here's my tribute to Tony Lorenzo. This shirt needs to die an honorable death, And what more honorable can you get than the mighty Hulk Hogan? Ugh.